Welcome to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And one of my favorite topics all the time is health, because we believe that health is wealth. And our program today, I picked this up from our good friend and regular guest here, Dr. Jaime Dillaco, who heads PCAM. And eventually, the topic and this lady and gentleman that will be talking to for this program will be guest speakers at one of the PCAM. This is the Philippine College for the Advancement of Medicine. And we have with us, by the way, first of all, our topic is body talk. Okay, body talk. And to explain what body talk itself is all about, we have the trainer and the lady who brought Body Talk to the Philippines, Miss Dorothy Freisen.
Right.
Freisen.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have with us a Body Talk practitioner trained by Dorothy, is
No.
it? No.
Other trainers.
Other trainers. We have Mr. Remar Soliza. Remar, welcome. So, Dorothy, what is Body Talk all about, and how does it fit into alternative medicine and health?
Well, Body Talk is really listening to your body. We all have this inner wisdom, but we're always looking outside for answers. So this system is a way to find out what needs to communicate better in the body. Because just like in a family or in a business, if people are communicating, then no matter what the problem is, they'll find some solution. But if people are angry at each other or not speaking, everybody's uncomfortable working around trying to get the work done. So in Body Talk, we're really asking the body what needs to communicate better. So it could be the nerve flow, it could be the blood flow, it could be emotions, it could be things that have happened on the outside, environmental issues, it could be toxins. So we identify what needs to be connected, and then this is consciousness-based, so we focus on that, and we implement by tapping really lightly on the brain to set up the frequencies through the brain to pay attention that this needs to be taken care of. And then we tap lightly on the heart complex, because when we know something by heart, of course, then it remains. It's not just a change for right now, it's really stored.
Dorothy, when you say tapping, do you actually mean tapping in the physical sense? Because there's a healing modality that involves tapping. Have you heard of that?
Well, there's many healing modalities that have used tapping in some kind of way.
I see.
We're using it very specifically because the most important thing first is to be listening to the body.
Yes.
And that we do that through a biomuscular feedback.
Okay.
So the yes-no, using a protocol that's based also from Western understandings and Eastern wisdom.
So when you say tapping, you mean physical tapping. It's not tapping as in you tap into. I mean,
you tap into on that level, but also physically
Physical,
the implementation is tapping on the head and tapping on the heart.
Okay. Now, when you, I can imagine the people who will be attending your talk would be people who are suffering some kind of a pain or discomfort. So what if someone is listening or watching right now is perfectly healthy or is apparently so, like, they're happy, they're strong, I mean, they don't have any ailments, no discomfort, no complaints. Should they also go see you, or?
Actually, yes, because Body Talk at heart, at the deepest level, is really about our spiritual well-being in the sense that we need to come home to ourselves, the way we were created, that innate wisdom. And nobody is perfectly without stress in this very stressful world.
Yes.
So sometimes we have silent symptoms, but sometimes we just want to understand more deeply how to be ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's, and actually we're doing that with anybody, even if they come with a cancer or something very extreme. This process is still part of it, right?
Okay.
Because the physical doesn't exist on its own. It's so interconnected, emotional, mental, and spiritual. and it's within our bodies. So and it also reflects out to the way in which we relate to the environment, or the way the environment relates to us.
Okay, so if you are feeling good, you can feel better. And if you're feeling bad, you can feel good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you don't necessarily have to have an ailment or pain or discomfort or illness to be able to appreciate and profit from your talk.
Absolutely
No.
not,
Okay.
because I first got into Body Talk because I was just helping my friend who needed to work on people in order to get certified. And I just did it as a favor. But after a few months, I began to realize that I was feeling so much more hopeful about life. I hadn't thought I was hopeless before, but something was changing in me. And that's when I went back and asked her, what is this all about? And then I never turned back. I just kept going with it.
Okay, so it can be any kind of physical ailment or illness. I mean, something as dreaded as cancer to as common as recurring cold, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now,
it can also be emotional.
Yes.
Like I have a lot of people coming, maybe their husband walked out on them or
Yes.
something, so
okay.
there's heartaches about children, or everyone has all kinds of emotions churning around.
And recently I read and saw pictures and read something about the heart can actually break.
Yes. Yes.
Pag heartbreak, when they talk about heartbreak, you have suffering from a broken heart because of a relationship. They actually saw a heart breaking down. Okay, now we talked to one of our friends here, Mr. Remar Soliza, right?
Yes.
So Remar, how did you begin? What made you? How did you discover Body Talk?
I discovered Bodytalk in Tacloban after the Super Typhoon Haiyan.
Recently lang to, 2
Yeah,
years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
I met one of the Access outreachers there, and I saw her doing the tapping and instructing to people to do the same, and I saw how amazing and how effective the techniques was, and I said to myself, oh, this is very good because I can help many people without using like some other
MRIs, X-rays,
special
yeah.
instruments.
Oh, right.
Just the hands, the body, and the focus. So,
Can you describe what happened? Like for instance, ano ito, mga victims?
Yeah.
Were
And
they
they're-
suffering
they're-
physically, mentally, or all of the above?
all of the above,
Okay.
and a lot of people are really very traumatized
Yes,
at that
of course.
moment. And really by resetting the brain and
Give us an example, Remar. For instance, give us an example. An adult, a young person, male, female, age group.
Other-
Specific example of something that you actually saw and nagkaroon ng change.
like there's a mother who brought her child who's very, very sick, and you can see by just looking that the child is very sick, and after doing the access techniques which Dorothy is teaching, those 5 simple and very effective techniques from Body Talk, after just doing that, in 10 minutes, the child is okay and she's already playing.
You mean from bedridden, from having zero energy and just lying down flat to standing up and walking and ganong baka dramatic?
Oh, not really, but the child is just sitting and
Low bat.
yeah. But I have used the techniques in, like, there's an accident, motorcycle accident, and the guy is unconscious, and I asked for permission that I told them I know some of the techniques, if I can perform it to the guy, and after he's been unconscious and wounded, and after just less than 3 minutes, he's
Na-revive.
yeah. And so, while waiting for the ambulance to come,
Yes,
we already did something for the victim by just simple tapping
Okay.
and using the techniques.
Okay, at
from
this
Body
point,
Talk.
for many people, it sounds magical. It sounds hocus pocus, abracadabra. What did you actually do that you can either Dorothy or Remar, what was done here that could have some kind of empirical proof? I mean, of course, the proof is the person revives from having no energy to be. But what actually happened? What was done, and what happened on the biological, maybe spiritual level?
Okay. Well, the most basic technique called cortices, which we want to demonstrate yet before we leave this program. Basically, what it's doing is rebalancing all the parts of the brain so they're talking to each other, which means that, when we're low bat or when we're stressed about something, we're in this fight or flight mode. So the brain can't focus on the health of the body. By touching the parts, tapping on head and heart, there's a reset button going on, so that it's a reset button that we all have, and it happens automatically, but
Okay.
because we're stressed for so long a period, it's not working anymore. So we're resetting so that the brain can really look at the healing, health, repair, rebuild the cells. Like when we're sleeping, that's what's happening.
Right, right.
So this is like setting the brain to a more contented point so that actual rebuilding of the cells can happen.
So you need the cooperation of the subject.
For these simple
Yes.
techniques,
Yes.
and let me just say that the protocol, all of that takes a long time to learn. But 5 of these techniques are done as a package that you don't go through all of that. You just offer that as a package. And that's where there's hundreds of Filipinos who have already been trained in that in many different areas.
Okay. And the practical applications are like what Remar mentioned. I mean, is that having healing from a person who just came through a very traumatic experience like Typhoon Haiyan, Typhoon Yolanda, and also, well, I mean, having a serious motorcycle accident that is a pretty serious situation. It could be a life or death situation in the second instance. So is this something that you can learn with this 5 package,
Well,
or is it something more advanced?
Well, I think Remar was only using
The fast aid technique.
The first aid,
Fast aid.
the fast
Fast
aid,
aid.
and it was only
3 minutes, no?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Obviously, if someone has chronic issues, they've taken a long time to get there.
Right.
Sometimes we need to work longer with the larger Bodytalk
Right.
system. We call this access, Bodytalk access, these
Okay.
5 techniques, and that's what I've been teaching. But I taught just recently in Maribahok, Bohol, and these were barangay health workers. So they had 1 day and a half to learn, and then their friends from the barangay came and they were going to work on them. And one woman came in, she was actually being supported by somebody. She couldn't walk. She'd had a stroke in December.
Okay.
This was in the beginning of February. And she had her one arm, couldn't move very much, and then this problem with the left.
Right.
So there was 2 access trainees, they're just trainees at that point, who did these 5 techniques for her. And at one point she just felt lots of energy in her spine and,
Right.
and her arm lifted.
Right.
The second time round, she actually got up and
Oh.
just walked by
So
herself.
pretty dramatic.
That one was pretty dramatic.
Right.
Sometimes these are quiet changes,
Right.
but sometimes they can be very dramatic.
Okay. Now, I don't want to hurry at the end, but we could get into some time constraints here. How can they get in touch with you? Like Dorothy, I'm sure you're not going to be here forever.
No.
You're just visiting,
Yeah.
but Remar is going to be around for quite the
Yeah.
time. I mean, he's a Filipino. Now, Remar, if somebody wants to learn body talk, somebody wants to avail of the services, how do they get in touch with you? I mean, is there a mobile number? Is there an email address? So,
Yes,
are
I
you
can
going to give me
the
something now?
calling card.
Okay. So, get in touch with 0916 324 0741. Okay? That's 0916 324 0741. and his name is Remar, R-E-M-A-R. All right, just ask for Remar and just say that you saw him on TV. Again, 0916-324-0741. By the way, do you charge for training if somebody wants to learn?
Yes, there's
There's
a
a
charge
fee?
for the training.
Okay.
That's the one charge you have. After that, all you have is your body. You don't have to buy any more inputs of any kind.
Is there, would you like to give a ballpark figure of how much this will cost?
Well, I'm teaching on the 28th at
Okay.
Microtel, and that's 4,500
Okay.
pesos.
Are you charging the same thing, Remar?
For a body talk session, we normally charge 2,500.
2,500.
pesos.
But in special cases, I mean, would you consider a smaller, scholarships?
Yeah.
Right.
Now-
Maybe for barangays or for
Yes,
depressed areas.
That's a whole other.
Right.
That's a whole other thing, and that's what Remar was referring to.
Yeah.
Philippines is the only program like this. We're the pilot project for the whole International Body Talk Association, in which there's 50 countries doing this simplified access. But we have a program called Access Outreach.
Okay.
So people like Remar who took access, the regular full access, and then took the full body talk and did a lot of extra work. And then there's a certification exam by the International Body Talk Association. So there are people like Remar who then took an outreacher training with me so that they will work. Yes, it's freely given.
An outreach.
Yes, it's an
Okay.
outreach.
Now, are there any films on YouTube or
Yes.
in your where
Yes.
you demonstrate this?
Bodytalksystem.com
Okay.
is the website for the international. And if you go on
Body Talk System is one word.
yes,
.com.
bodytalksystem.com.
Okay.
There's lots of videos and information there. Also, if you go on YouTube and just put
Okay.
Body Talk, there's the founder, Dr. Veltheim, is talking, but there's also many other practitioners.
How do you spell that, Doctor?
Dr. Veltheim, Veltheim,
Okay. And the first name is?
John.
Okay. So let me just give this information because we have just a minute to go. Bodytalksystem.com. Okay, bodytalksystem.com. Or you can go to YouTube and just search for Body Talk, and specifically Dr. John Veltheim, Veltheim. Okay?
Locally, we have a Facebook page.
Yes.
So that people who wanted to request outreach in their communities also can.
Okay. Anong Facebook natin?
Body Talk Community and Outreach Clinic.
Okay. Body Talk Community and Outreach Clinic.
That's
Facebook,
in the Philippines. Yeah.
Okay, Body Talk Outreach and
Body Talk Community and Outreach Clinic.
Okay. Pero I'm sure lagay lang nila Body Talk, bubukas na lahat yung mga ano, di ba? And again, 0916-324-0741. Dorothy is the lady who brought Body Talk here way back in 2009, 6 years ago. So would you, we have just around 30 seconds. Could you please address the Filipino people and our audience just for 30 seconds, please?
You know, because there's a great history of healing, natural healing in the Philippines. This Body Talk system, I think, works even faster and deeper here. So even if you availed yourself of learning just the 5 techniques, there's almost more you can do with that than maybe in any other country because of the background you have. So I do hope, my real hope is that people in the Philippines facing all kinds of environmental disasters and difficulties can really be in the process of healing and being healed in order to spread your good cheer also around the world, which you are doing in so many different countries, including where I come from, Canada. Strong Filipino population, and everybody loves you there.
Okay, so with that, thank you very much, Dorothy. Thank you very much, Remar.
Thank you very much.
All right, and again, bodytalksystem.com and 0916-324-0741. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a course that has been around since for decades, 1912, almost 100 years, and something which came to the Philippines way back in the 50s. and it has to do with how to win friends and influence people. I'm Gerry Cornejo, and I'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. If you were listening earlier, we were talking about Bodytalk. And again, if you want to know what Bodytalk is all about, you can go to bodytalksystem.com. All right, and it's going to explain our previous segment. Now we're going to be talking about something which is very, very important. It's also part of communication. It could spell out the difference between failure and success in whatever you're in, whether you're still in school, in your neighborhood, in your barangay, in the corporate world, anywhere. Siguro pati sa peace talk, importante ito. Okay, and we have with us the managing director and assistant manager for sales and training of the Dale Carnegie course. First of all, our managing director, Miss Nikka Policarpio.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you for
welcome.
having us, Gerry.
And Oliver,
Hello.
Oliver Espiritu.
Thank you so much.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the Dale Carnegie course. First of all, who is Dale Carnegie?
Oliver can tell you about Dale.
Oh, Dale Carnegie. Who is
All
Dale?
right, Dale Carnegie, actually, he's an American. He started his career as an actor, and then later on, he found out that he wanted to be a public speaker. And then he experimented on several things. Tapos, he eventually found out that the greatest fear of man is actually public speaking.
Totoo yun, ha? I mean, I heard it even ranks higher than death.
And even bungee jumping.
Right, okay. So
right.
what are the greatest fears of man
Yes.
in general is public speaking. Why? Is there an explanation for this? Fear of rejection, maybe?
Well, fear of really talking in front of
Okay.
a lot of people. You get
Alright.
intimidated sometimes, and
Okay.
sometimes you don't know how to connect to people.
Okay.
And that brings me to what Dale Carnegie said also, that
Okay.
in order for you to really be confident, you must have good human relation skills.
Okay.
Which means you need to connect to people, relate to people. Hindi pwede yung, you're a good speaker, I'm a good speaker, then you're so confident about yourself, and then you cannot even relate to people. So that's how Dale Carnegie works.
And is there a system for this? There's a specific way to do this? Siguro, I mean, Dale Carnegie course, it's a course. There has to be a step 1, 2, 3.
Yes, it's a
Right.
12-week course.
12 weeks?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a 12-week course. It runs once a week, and
Okay.
each session is 3.5 hours long.
Okay.
The reason it's time-phased is that because once you're in the classroom, you learn the concepts, you learn the principles, and then at the end of the day, we ask you to go out and apply these principles.
Okay.
And then come back again the following week, report on it, what happened, and then learn more principles, and then apply. It's a process. It's done this way because Dale Carnegie discovered that, you can only take so much. You take a 2-day seminar, and all you get is information overload.
Okay.
So it's time-phased, so you have time to practice, make it into habit, and turn it into skill.
So whether you take it up in New York or whether you take it up in Makati, it's the same 12-week course.
Yes, it's the same. It's structured
Okay.
the same way.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what benefits can you get out of this? Like, for instance, as Oliver was saying, somebody would like to get into maybe politics or maybe into the corporate world or maybe apply for a job, you
Yes.
know. So, how is the Dale Carnegie course? Is this applicable to all of those situations I mentioned?
Yes, you're correct,
Okay.
Gerry. It's applicable to all situations. Our participants are very diverse. We have beauty queens in our classroom.
Okay.
We have corporate executives. We have high potential employees, managers. We have children, or no, not children, but college graduates who want to look for a job.
Okay, so it will help all of those.
It will help everybody because it's basically life skills.
Okay.
Basic skills you need to succeed in life. So we have 5 drivers for success.
Okay.
The Dale Carnegie course is focused on that. And the first one is to build greater self-confidence. The next one would be people skills. And then the third one would be human relation skills. The fourth is leadership skills.
Okay.
And the fifth one would be to reduce stress.
To reduce
Reduce,
stress.
Yes.
Stress.
Yeah, within,
Okay.
this is very
We
important.
cannot eliminate stress.
Right.
So
We
can
just need to reduce it because stress is always there.
And sometimes stress is good.
Yes,
Right.
we also
Healthy,
There's
mentioned.
but-
positive
Yes.
stress.
Yes.
Okay, now, all of these 5 things you learn in 12 weeks.
Yes.
Of course, you will not master it, but you will get a feel of it, and
Get
you
the
will be
feel
able
of
to
it.
practice it.
Yes.
Okay.
In the span of 3 months.
Okay,
yes.
can you walk us through the first step? What is the first step? I mean, walk us through. So I enroll, I'm there, my first class of sales and training. Training ito, si Oliver. Oh, training, Oliver. Is it a class? Is it a classroom? Is it? Do you sit around in a circle? I mean, what does it look like?
Yeah, of course, it's a classroom setup.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But first, of course, a lot of the students will always they're always shy, and they don't talk to each other. We always start with the foundation of success, and we
Okay.
talk about the breakthroughs and this. That's 5 drivers of success: of confidence, human relations, leadership, communication, and reducing stress and worry. Now, communication in Dale Carnegie is not about speaking English or fluent
Okay.
English. It's about expressing yourself, whether you speak in Tagalog, in English, Bisaya, or whatever language that you can. As long as you can express yourself properly, clearly, that is how we do it in Dale Carnegie.
It is not language.
It is not language.
Okay.
We don't teach proper English or
Okay.
grammar.
We
Okay.
probably correct if it's really obvious when you're talking.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
but we don't correct really in front of the class. But what is more important here is that the students are able to really learn how to express themselves, communicate properly, clearly, and concise.
Meron din ano rito, no? Body language.
Yes, there
Right.
are. Yes.
And they also teach like power dressing.
A power dress.
No, not really.
Power dressing.
Or be properly dressed for the right occasion.
For the right
They also,
occasion.
meron ganon,
Yes,
di ba?
we just mentioned those things.
Like if you're going to apply for a job, make sure you look like
of course,
the
it will
ideal
al-
employee, or
it will always be
right.
there.
Or
Right.
if you're going to be a manager of a certain company, you better look like a manager.
Yes.
Mga ganon. Meron din yan.
That's actually a separate course.
Ah,
That would
okay.
be creating an executive image.
Yes.
That's
Which
also
is also
under
under
Dale
Dale
Carnegie.
Carnegie. yes.
Training.
Okay, Mr. Oliver Espiritu, walk
Yes.
me through the first session.
Okay,
I mean, I'm there on the first day. I
Okay.
enrolled. Okay, we're sitting down. We're about how many? A dozen, 2 dozen?
15 to 20 people.
15.
Okay,
20.
15 people.
Okay.
Okay, let's round it off. 20.
Yeah.
We're 20 there. Guys and girls, young and old, I mean, a cross section. So I'm there, we're there. Walk us through. What are you going to be the first one to speak?
Yes, I'm going to introduce myself,
Okay.
and then later, the participants will introduce themselves.
Okay.
But there's a way in Dale Carnegie, there's a proper way of introducing yourself for
Okay.
you to actually have an impact when you are introducing yourself.
Sige nga, sample nga.
For example, it's called the PPP.
Okay.
That's just actually the start of Dale Carnegie
All right.
course.
PPP.
PPP stands for pause, part, and punch.
Okay.
So when you
All right.
introduce yourself,
Okay.
you introduce yourself with "my name is," and then
Okay.
you pause,
Okay.
and then your first name, Oliver, and then you part a little bit for you to just distinguish your first and last name,
Okay.
and then you punch your family name. So my name is Oliver Espiritu. So in that way, people can easily remember you.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the impact and the way you actually say your name.
All right.
For example, you have a long name and then you can distinguish the first with the second name. What's your name again?
Right,
Yes.
right.
But with this kind of introducing yourself, it actually gives you a clear, how to really express it and confidently.
Okay, now, I'm here, one of your students. Do you also teach your students on how to remember the name? Like, how do I remember Oliver Espiritu?
Yes.
Importante yan, di ba?
It's part of
Because,
session 1
right,
also.
because I mean, many times we're in a party, or not even in a party, you just met somebody now, you're introduced, and then
You
you
forgot-
actually,
forgot you-
forgot. Like our good friend over there. I, mean, I was calling him Relton and Kelton, and it was Kelson.
It was
so now
Kelson.
I won't forget.
Yeah.
I said, Son of Kel's
Yes,
son.
that's
Okay, so do you have any techniques
Yes, we
That's
do have
remembering
actually
names?
part of session one.
okay,
We
okay.
teach you several techniques on how to be able to remember a person's name.
Especially your boss
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
or your client, di ba?
Uh-huh,
Your
You're
client,
trying
yes.
to sell something to your client, you know?
Yes, and it's very
Right.
important to remember people's names. It's part of Dale Carnegie's 30 principles. It's actually
30.
30,
Yes.
yes.
Dami, ah.
It's actually principle number 6.
Okay.
And that principle states that remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and
Right,
most
right.
important sound in any
Right,
language.
right. You give him a pen, tell him to test the pen. The first chances are, first thing he's going to do is write his
Yes,
name.
of course.
Right, right. So, what is number 1 if remembering the name is number 6?
The first one would be do not criticize, condemn, or complain.
Oh, very good.
And
very
people
good.
find that the hardest
Very
to
good.
do, yes.
The hardest to apply, the first principle.
Kahit sa
And if-
Facebook.
Yes, especially in Facebook.
Like ka na lang na like.
It's really hard. It's really hard. You know, some of our students would always, how do you do that? When you don't criticize, condemn, or complain, it doesn't mean that you cannot correct mistakes of other people.
Right,
There are also
right.
principles that we teach that actually help you to correct mistakes without making that person feel bad or
Okay.
Or arousing resentment.
resentment.
Can you tell us some of your success stories? I mean, people, for instance, landing the ideal job or selling a building or, one of those success stories of people who have taken up your course. Do you have a way of tracking them
Well,
and
we
seeing
do.
what happened to them, how they used it? Wala.
We do because sometimes they call us to thank us.
Okay.
I
What are the
rem-
dramatic stories?
I
What are the,
remember
yes.
this kid. He was a college graduate when
Okay.
he took the course, and one day I saw on our Facebook page a testimonial from him thanking Dale Carnegie because he was able to get the job he really wanted
Okay.
and the girlfriend.
Okay.
And the
I'm
girlfriend.
not so sure about the second part.
Well, it's like,
No, I'm
that's,
just kidding.
That's not our main purpose, but
yes, of
if it
course.
works for him,
Of
yeah,
course,
sure.
yeah. I mean, because remember the foundation of all this is Mr. Dale Carnegie wrote this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
You know. Now, does it involve when you say win friends and influence people? Does this involve sometimes not being true to yourself? Like for instance, I want to sell something to you, di ba? I want to sell something to Oliver, and I really don't like the color pink, but I know you love pink, and so I say, hey, we're the same, we love pink. I mean, along those lines, meron bang gano'n? Wala naman.
Not really, but
Wala
it's
naman.
Yeah.
focusing more on what the other person wants.
Okay.
Yes, focusing on what he
Because
wants.
remember, any person, the most important person to him or her is himself.
Yes.
So that's what we focus on.
Okay.
Focus on the other person.
All right.
So the next set of principles, because I mentioned there were 30, right? It's divided into 3 sets. The first one would be focusing on becoming a friendlier person. The next one is gain willing cooperation. So we really focus on gain willing cooperation and not being manipulative.
Okay.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, it also helps pag mag-research ka sa kakausapin mo. No? Like for instance, if I know you're interested in sailing, maybe I can say something about sailing. Or I go to your office and I see a lot of sports cars, maybe I can say something about sports cars. Ganun ba? I mean,
Yeah.
it has to do with...
Yes, because one of the Dale Carnegie principles is principle number 4, become genuinely interested with other people. So
All right.
know their interests, research on their interests,
And talk about
yeah,
their
talk
interests.
about their interests. While you're
Right.
getting to know a person, you can actually try to know what the interest of this person is.
And try to learn.
Learn
Diba?
from
If
it.
you don't know about sports cars or
Yes.
sailboats,
Learn about it.
And the good thing with this, you discover, parang may common pala kami. Oh, he likes basketball or he likes badminton. Mahilig pala siya sa sports car. Yan. Tapos nagkakaroon, you gain friends eventually.
But again, this is a system, no? It's a course, and when you say it's a course, it's a system.
Yes, yes.
It's like learning arithmetic. First, you learn 1 plus 1 is 2, and then you learn division, subtraction, multiplication. So it is a course that you go through step by step.
Yes, yes.
No? And memorize mo ba? I'm just curious. Memorize mo ba itong 30 principles?
30 principles,
Yeah.
masyado marami yun. But
No, because
yes.
sometimes 30, di ba? Because
Yeah,
sometimes
yes.
there's this book,
There are 30 principles, yes.
No, I remember kasi it's an anecdote. It's almost like a joke. Somebody said the eight habits of highly successful people. 8 habits. So there's this guy who said, and it was a bestseller. So gumawa rin siya ng libro, The 49 Habits. And it was a failure. Yung parang, seriously, 49 habits? It was 49 habits. So, but, okay, after 12 weeks, anong resulta? Like, a guy goes in there, a normal guy, hindi naman shy na shy, hindi ba? I mean, ordinary, if there's such a thing as ordinary average communication skills, okay, at the end of the course, at the end of the 12 weeks, what is the product?
Oh, well, a lot of our students will always say, this is a feel-good course. After they
Okay.
graduate from the program, they always say that, wow, it's like I'm actually happy about what happened to me, and I'm really, I want to do a lot of things in life right now. So it gives them that enthusiasm to actually do what they want, to achieve their goals, and to actually live their life to the fullest. That is how the effect is. And some of the people there, they get out of their comfort zone, which is what we do in Dale Carnegie. We let them get out of their shell and actually express themselves. Some people would just be shy at the first sessions, but after several sessions, you would notice that they've been improving and talking and, expressing themselves well.
Okay, before, I don't want to rush this usually comes at the end, but if you want to get in touch with them, it's 844-2178. Okay, this is the landline, 844-2178 and 846-4154. Okay, 844-2178, 846-4154. Or they also have mobile numbers, 0920-673-4423 and 0927-353-3253. All right? And look them up, Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
Ang office nyo is in Ayala Avenue, am I right?
Yes,
Ayala Avenue.
and we have a Facebook page.
Which is?
That's facebook.com/Dale Carnegie Philippines.
Dale Carnegie Philippines. Okay. Yes.
And our website as well is philippines.dalecarnegie.com.
Okay. So in a nutshell, how is this going to help? First, 2 questions na lang. Anong ideal age group or demographics na pwedeng sumali rito? Meron bang age limit ito? Like, is there a minimum age? 14, 15, 18?
Well, we have 2 courses. Every summer, we have one for the youth or for teenagers, specifically from 13 years old
Yes.
to 17.
Okay.
And then the basic course, which is
The
the
Dale-
full 12 course, there really isn't an age limit as long as they feel they want to improve some more.
Okay.
Do we have senior citizens? in the
Yes, I
classroom?
had students who
And it's a mixed.
It's a mix, yes.
It's very mixed.
So they're young and old,
young and
male
old,
female.
professionals, and then
So
we have
even
VPs. and
inside the classroom itself, you get to deal with different kinds of people. So there pa lang, your human relation skills will be put to the test
Okay.
and practiced as well.
And again, the reason I invited you is because I believe that, one of the foundations of success, whatever field you're in, is to be able to communicate. No? To communicate well, to communicate properly, and to win friends and influence people. It's all about addition. It's all about adding more to your network, adding more, whether you're selling, whether you're buying, whether you're a politician or a corporate, somebody in the corporate world. it will always be better if you can communicate. So, Nikka, 30 seconds. What's your message?
Well, we would like to invite everybody to come visit us in our office. It's at 6772 VGP Center along Ayala Avenue, Makati City. Or you can visit our website also at philippines.dalecarnegie.com and visit our Facebook page. You can just search for Dale Carnegie Philippines. We'd like to invite you. We have a lot of other courses aside from our effective communications and human relations course. We do have leadership training as well for everybody.
Okay, Oliver, on the training aspect, what can you pitch to our audience?
Well, about training, training is all about being able to participate well. If you're not into it, like for example, you don't put yourself into training, then certain things can happen, no? But if you're really 100% sure that you want to improve yourself, then you can really get your goal.
So this is a self-improvement
Yes,
course. Itong
self-improvement.
pinaka-basic nito.
Yes.
Personality development.
And of course, the
Personal-
foundation is how to win friends and influence
influence
people. Okay, so with that, thank you very much, Nikka. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Oliver. And I hope the past two segments we've had will leave a positive, lasting impression, and not only impression, a lesson, for all of our audience. And again, you can follow up, no? I mean, if you want to find out about Bodytalk, there's Remar at 0916-324-0741. And if you want to get into self-improvement, self-help training to the Dale Carnegie course, it's 844-2178, 846-4154. I'm Gerry Cornejo. Thank you very much for staying with us during the past hour. I love you. God bless you. Until next week. Bye-bye.